Alright, section 7.4, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials. Before we can add and subtract them, we need to know what they are. So a polynomial is going to be a monomial or a sum of monomials. So those things that we were talking about in previous sections, we can have one of them or we can add several of them together, and that will give us a polynomial. When we're talking about polynomials, it's sometimes helpful to know what the degree is, and by degree we mean the highest exponent. So what you have here is an example of a polynomial in standard form. All standard form means is if we're looking at the exponents, they're going to go in descending order. So in this polynomial, I have an x to the third term, an x to the second term. Remember, an x, if there's no exponent, we can assume it's a 1, so I have an x to the first term, and then I have a constant term without an x at all. In standard form, they're just going to go from greatest to least, so 3, 2, 1, and then the constant term would come last. A couple of vocab words. Greatest degree we already talked about, that's the greatest exponent, and then leading coefficient is just the coefficient, or the number that's being multiplied by that first term with the greatest degree. So here we have some examples where we're just asked to put them in standard form and then identify the degree and leading coefficient. So standard form means I need my exponents from greatest to least. So I have 5, 2, and then if there's nothing written, it's a 1. So 5, 2, and 1, I'm going to go from the biggest, so 4x to the 5th, plus 3x squared, minus 7x, biggest to smallest. Okay, so my degree, then remember, is the largest exponent, so for this polynomial it's 5. The leading coefficient is the coefficient of the first term, so for this one it is 4. So all we're doing is putting the exponents in order from greatest to least. Degree would be the highest exponent, leading coefficient is the first coefficient once we put them in standard form. So what I want you to do here is pause and do these next 3 examples on your own, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, there are answers for those next 3 examples. Make sure that you're careful with the signs. So like this is 2y to the 4th, but that minus sign in front needs to come with it. So it's negative 2y to the 4th. So be careful with signs. If you get something like this with a lot of terms, I might, as you start to write it in standard form, cross them out. So once you use that one, cross it out. Cross it out as you use it. That way you make sure you don't skip any terms. Alright, now we're going to actually add and subtract some polynomials. When you're doing this, all you're going to do is combine like terms. So we have to remember this term, like terms. What does that mean? It means same variable, okay, and same exponent. Okay, so I can add x squared plus x squared. I cannot add x plus x squared. Alright, same variable, same exponent. And then when you're subtracting, we're going to distribute a negative 1 first. Instead of trying to subtract every time because it gets confusing, we're going to distribute a negative 1 and then combine like terms. I'll show you what that means on the example. Okay, so here's some examples. The first problem we have is addition. So 8x plus 7x squared plus 3x minus 12x squared. I want you to get in the habit of writing your answers in standard form, which means that when we add these, I'm going to do the highest variable first. So here are my 2 terms that I can combine, 7x squared and negative 12x squared. Alright, so 7 minus 12 would give me negative 5x squared. Alright, now I've used both of those terms, and this is a pretty short one, but you can see we're going to do some problems where there get to be a lot more terms, so I recommend crossing them out as you go. Alright, and then our last 2 like terms here, we have 8x plus 3x. 8 plus 3 is 11, so this gives me 11x. Okay, and then that's it. I can't put this together anymore. This doesn't become 6x cubed or anything like that. They don't have the same exponent. They're not like terms. They can't be combined. This would be the final answer. here we have a subtraction problem. What I would like for you to do is, instead of trying to subtract, because when we get these longer problems it gets confusing, okay? I want you to treat this like a -1 that you are going to distribute. So I still have 8x plus 7x squared. And now I have -1 times 3x, which is -3x, and -1 times -12x squared, which would give me positive 12x squared. Okay, and so now I'm going to combine my like terms. So here I have an x squared term, and here I have an x squared term. Alright, so 7x squared plus 12x squared would be 19x squared. Alright, so then I can cross those out. I've combined them, they're done. Then my next two terms I have are 8x and -3x. 8 minus 3 would be 5x. Alright, again, I've used those terms, and so then here is my final answer. Alright, for numbers 3 and 4, what I want you to do is go ahead and pause, and you're going to try these on your own, and then come back to check your answers. Okay, there are the answers for 3 and 4, so compare those to your answers. If that's not what you got, then you need to write down a question or put a star by that problem so you can ask about it in class. For examples 5 and 6, I'm going to have you do those on your own, and then we will go over the answers in class. That's it. Don't forget the Google form.